Hey guys, thanks for watching Homesteading on the Side. Today we're going to be canning some celery that I got on sale when I went to Sam's yesterday. So let's get started. Alright, so I went to Sam's and I got these on sale. They're a 3-pack of the celery hearts. And celery is one of those things that I use every time I make a soup or a stock, chicken broth, anything like that. I add celery. Well, the bad thing about it is I only need 2 or 3 stalks at a time, and then I have all the celery that'll sit and go bad in the fridge because I won't use it again in time. I was freezing it, but I didn't like the texture and it was mushy. So I was looking on YouTube and found a woman who cans her celery and figured, why not? That way I've always got it on hand, it's always there, I can use it whenever I need it. So I would have got more, but they only had 2 packs left, so I grabbed them both, and I figured that should be plenty for my family. So what I'm going to do is take these here, and instead of just washing it like it is, I always find I get dirt and stuff in here that I can never seem to get out. So I'm going to cut the bottom off, cut the tops off, and then open up, and anything that's got leaves on it, you don't want to can that. So all the leaves, pull all of it out. And we have chickens, so I usually take any scraps from the kitchen like this, and I will give it and feed our chickens with it. Other things that chickens can't eat, like a lot of times my raw potato peels, banana peels, things like that, I throw in our compost. But since this is celery, I'm going to just put it all in a bowl, and I will, see like this, I'll just cut the bottom off, and I will save this for when I make chicken stock. So it'll be divided between the chickens and between my freezer for stock later. But see, I always get sometimes you'll find little dead bugs and stuff in it. So I'm just going to keep these like this and put them in my colander, and I'll wash them, and then I'll chop them. So let me get all these done. I said I've only got 6 of them. I would have bought more, but they didn't have any more. So let me get these going, and I will be back as soon as I get them washed. So now I've taken the very bottoms off and put them in a freezer bag, and all of the leafy parts, because they actually have a lot of celery flavor too. A lot of people throw it away, but save those because they are very pungent. And I just labeled it in the bag, celery for stock, and this will go in my freezer. So if it gets a little mushy, I'm not worried about it. It's going in a stock pot. And I will show y'all how to make chicken broth. I've got a rooster that needs to go, and roosters tend to be tough, but they make great chicken stock. So this I'll take outside, and half of it will go to the chickens, and half of it will go to my compost. And I have washed all of my celery really good. Got it all here in a big colander. I'm going to, because I don't want like little bitty thin strips, then it'll get really mushy when you can it. So I'm going to cut this just a little thicker than I would if I was actually putting it in a stock. So this is about 1/2 inch or so. That way, hopefully it'll kind of retain some of the texture. And since it'll be cooked in a crock pot or a soup or stew anyway, I'm not worried about it being super mushy. Just want it to have, at least retain its shape. So I've got all these that I need to cut, and I will come back as soon as I get them all done. So I've got all of it washed and rinsed, and it's all ready to go. What I'm going to do is put boiling hot water on the stove. And I'm going to, when this comes to a boil, I'm going to add my celery, and I'm going to blanch it for 3 minutes with a lid on. I've got my timer here because I always forget, and I tend to overcook. Sometimes I undercook. A timer just makes everything so much easier. And I've also got my canner started. I got water in the bottom of it, and I'm going to get my jars, which I'm going to use 1/2 pint jars, only because I would hate to have to, do a soup or a stew and have to open a big pint, and that's 2 cups, and that just seems like a lot of celery for a soup or something, and I would rather open 2 cans and use them both than to open 1 can and only use half. So I'm going to be using the 1/2 pint jars. You can use whatever it is that you want. I'm going to get these blanched, and as soon as these are done, I'm going to put them back in the strainer and just drain the water. And I've got my kettle here going full of hot, it's going to be boiling water so I can fill my jars. So let me get everything ready. Let me get my assembly line together and I'll be right back. Alright, so my celery's done blanching and I've drained it. So here it is ready to go into my jars that have been washed and rinsed. And I've got all my stuff together. It calls for a quarter teaspoon of salt in each of the jars. And I'm just using the canning and pickling salt. My lids are warmed and ready to go. My canner's ready. Always follow the instructions on your canner. Make sure you read the manual so you know how much water to put in your canner. And I've got 2 kettles that have boiling water in them ready to fill the jars. So you fill them a 1-inch headspace. Make sure you debubble. Always debubble. You don't want anything happening to the jars in the canner. And then I will process these at 10 pounds pressure for 35 minutes. I only have one hand, but I can see if my husband will do it, hold the camera for me one time. If y'all want to see like the whole process, let me know and I'll have him come in here the next time and he'll hold the camera for me. But let me get these all into the canner. Alright, so this is what I have left. I can't fit any more jars in my canner. And since it's really not that much, I'm going to lay this flat on a baking sheet, on a cookie sheet, and throw it in my deep freeze and let it freeze. And then I will pack these into individual sandwich freezer bags. And that way I've always, about a cup into each bag. That way I've always got frozen celery on hand too. So that's what I'm going to do with this here soon. I got everything filled and I went ahead and did 2 pints just because sometimes some things require a little extra celery. So everything's in. I put a little bit of vinegar in the water. Sorry about the steam, guys. A little bit of vinegar in the water just to kind of keep everything clean and my jars don't get cloudy. And make sure you wipe the rims, make sure you debubble. And I'm going to process these at 10 pounds pressure for 35 minutes. So there it is rocking. I don't know if you can hear. I've got the washer going, the dryer going, the dishwasher going. The baby's fussing, and my other 3 who are 6, 4, and 3 are all running around. So I don't know if you can hear it. But now that it's rocking, I'm going to turn it down just a little to kind of maintain that. And I'm going to start my timer now. And in 35 minutes, I'll be back. Alright, the timer is off. I turned my heat off. I took it off the burner. And I'm going to let this sit for 30 minutes to an hour until this will pop down here. And when this moves, there will be no pressure and it won't do anything. It'll be ready to go for me to open, but this has to come down. So it has cooled. My pressure has gone down. Nothing left. Now this is still, even though that it is cooled down to where there's no more pressure inside, it is still super, super, super hot. So always take the lid. Oop. Let me do 2 hands. Let me take it off. But there's steam inside, and always open the canner away from you so that steam doesn't come on you or get all over your hands. So there they all are. Let me pull these out of the canner. You can see they're still boiling inside. Put them down and just let them cool. So let me get all these. And it's going to separate a little bit. That's alright. As it cools, it'll all reabsorb and it'll be just fine. So there they all are. Now I've got canned celery on hand for whenever I need it. I don't have to worry about it going bad in the fridge if I don't use it all. And as soon as all of the celery comes out of the freezer, I'll put 1 cup increments in freezer sandwich bags and keep it in the freezer. Oh, there they go. So that way I've always got celery and it's always fresh. And I know it's organic. And we're good to go. Hope you enjoy.